All right, good morning, everyone. This time, sorry you don't get to see my face because it's a little bit earlier in the morning. But today I'm gonna make a short video for you explaining a little bit more in detail what does that case look like where there's no horizontal asymptote. Right, so we talked about what happens if the horizontal asymptote is 0. We talked about last time what happens if the horizontal asymptote is at a specific number. But this thing where there's no horizontal asymptote at all, that's a little bit different. So if you take a look at the example that I've got here, x squared minus 1 over x, first step is still going to be the same as always, is I'm going to take this guy, whoops, I forgot about that, there we go. I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to factor the numerator, and obviously my denominator, he's already factored, right? And let me get rid of the stuff here that we don't need. So, still first thing, right, I'm going to find my x-intercepts. So here those will be at x equals 1 and negative 1, right? Still going to find my vertical asymptote. That's going to be at x equals 0. And now for the horizontal, well, I know in this case, right, the degree of my numerator is 2. The degree of my denominator is 1. So because of that relationship, I know I don't have 1. So when I go to draw my picture for this now, right, I go over here, right, because now I have my graph set up. I know I have x-intercepts at 1 and negative 1. I know that I have a vertical asymptote here at 0. And so now, to kind of figure out what this looks like, I'm going to make my number line for you. Right, so here's my number line. On here I'll have negative 1, 0, and 1. And if we remember from the last screen, right, x plus 1, x minus 1, all over x. So when I look at plugging in, let's say I plug in a point less than negative 1. All right, so let's say something like negative 2. So my numerator is a negative over a negative. Well, so that means the whole thing here, right, ends up being negative. I have a positive numerator over a negative denominator. Let's say I plug in something like negative 1/2. Right, well, the denominator is going to be negative, and I'll also have a negative numerator, so that part's positive. Plug in something like positive 1/2, I actually end up with the same deal. Right, I end up with a negative numerator, positive denominator. Right, one factor in the numerator is positive, one factor is negative. And then plugging in something like 2, everything is positive. So what does this look like if I don't have to approach a specific thing? Well, so I know looking between negative 1 and 0, right, this part's positive, meaning I'm going to approach the vertical asymptote that way. But because I have no horizontal, all it means is this guy kind of trails off down here to nothingness. Right, it doesn't approach any specific horizontal line, it just keeps going down. Same thing on the other side. Well, this is going to approach the vertical this way, and because there's no horizontal, that guy's just going to extend out forever in that direction. So I hope that was helpful, just to give a shorter explanation of why does this thing look the way it does.